Hi, I'm delighted to be joined today by Pawel, who is Managing Director of Future Processing. Thank you for joining me on Sourcing TV. Pawel, please just do a brief introduction to yourself.
Hello, first of all, thank you for the invitation. Yes, I'm Managing Director at Future Processing, and I've been working in Future Processing for over 15 years, many different roles, so quite a long story, I would say. Yeah, and I hope that today I will simply share some of the knowledge from Polish IT market. I am also Vice President of SODA. This is the organization of Polish IT companies, so I hope that I will share not only information from our company, but the whole IT market that we are also part of when it comes to Poland.
Okay, excellent. Yeah. So Future Processing, been a member of the GSA for a number of years and one of our award winners. So I've been really impressed with a lot of the work that you've been doing. So congratulations on your success journey so far. Yeah. So just to give a little bit of a backdrop, you know, I don't want to gloat because obviously there's so many industries that have, you know, really struggled through this pandemic. But I think the global technology and business services industry at the moment is doing incredibly well. It's almost boom time for us. And I see that being because of the way that organizations delivered and partnered around the world to help companies move to the working from home environment, to move into virtual environments, but more so that there are lots of pilots of digital transformation that organizations, you know, had been waiting in the wings, and they've trialed those now and they've delivered, and that seems to have given organizations a complete appetite to do a whole host more digital transformation to drive their businesses forward, but obviously to enable their businesses to work in this new environment. Be really keen to get your perspective on, you know, what you've seen happen over the last 18 months and more so what you're seeing right now.
Okay, yeah, if I would like to say in one sentence or in one word, it's quite a high boom, high demand. I would say strong recovery, something like that comes to my mind. And I think the beginning of this new situation after COVID, when it was a little bit slow down on the market, I would say, then we observe now, I think it started in last quarter of the previous year, a much higher demand. We were not sure where we finish, but now we see that it's only growing, it's accelerating all the time. So this is something that we definitely see when it comes to IT services market.
Yeah, and is there any sort of key sectors that you're working with or showing particularly strong demand and key markets around the world?
Yeah, from our perspective, again, we are a service company and we like to work with British clients because this market is also very strongly connected to the services. So when it comes to insurance, banking, fintech, definitely these domains are quite popular right now, and many of the questions that we have, leads that comes to our organization are from these domains. But I think that in many other domains as well, from other companies, from what I hear, we observe quite a high demand on IT market. So lack of IT staff is something that we observe, I think, everywhere right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So it is. Technology skills are in really high demand. I think probably the war on talent is the biggest issue our industry is facing right now. So how are you managing to resource this huge market growth?
Yeah, well, when it comes to future processing, we can think of short-term and long-term answer here, I think. So short-term answer is that, first of all, we had to change the salaries. So definitely something that happened when it's high demand on the market. Definitely people would like to earn more because they have more possibilities on the market. So this is the first thing that we have to do. The second one is that we are open when it comes to the type of work. So we are open for remote work, for hybrid work, working from office. So we have to switch to this new model to us because we are working mainly from the office. And now we are much more in hybrid or even a remote model, definitely. But this is the answer to the question that people had. So we had to do this, definitely. And I think that the other thing that also happened to organizations, bigger organizations in Poland, is that we simply have to borrow people from other smaller companies to be able to answer so many needs. Right now, we are not able to do it only on our own. We doubled the size of our recruitment team, but this is not enough. So we recruit more people. We are able to make sure that people don't leave our company. So retention rate comparing to the market average is quite okay, but it's still not enough. So this is why we also in short term decided to grow our partnership channel when it comes to other IT companies, mainly in Poland, but also from other countries as well. And just to give you the numbers, in previous year we had about 30, maybe 40 people borrowed from other companies, and now it's over 100. So it shows how quickly it grew up, and the demand is very, very high. And when it comes to long-term planning, at Future Processing, where first of all, we also have our Ukrainian office in Ternopil. It's 40 people right now there. And we decided to open another one in Lviv this or next year. We also decided to open a new office in northern Poland, just to show you that we see that people would like to work remotely, but we believe that hybrid model is also very important. So we have to meet each other from time to time in the office. This is something that people need. Or we realize after some time that remote work also has disadvantages, and it would be good to talk to people, meet people, drink coffee together. Something like that is very important when it comes to humanize our work, I think. So we believe that this is something that we should do. So there are companies that decide to close the offices, so we decided to open new ones. So we'll see which strategy is better. And when it comes to longer planning as well, we also have few people from Philippines. And when only COVID situation is a little bit better in Philippines, we are not able to get there right now. So it's quite difficult. So when only we are able to run our office there, we definitely invest in this office as well, because we see a huge market when it comes to good people, well-skilled talents in the Philippines as well, with good English, because this is quite a popular language word there when it comes to Asian markets. So we hope that long-term Philippines also will be the answer when it comes to talent shortage that we observe on the market.
All right, so it's a pretty brave and bold move to be opening offices in this existing climate. So good luck with that strategy. So is there a platform in Poland that the software development companies are using to enable you to borrow people from each other? How does that work?
Yeah, to be honest, there might be at least few such platforms. Where what we use, first of all, we are a member of SODA, which I already mentioned. This is the organization of Polish IT companies, and inside SODA we have our own tool. I would say tool. This is just a communication channel where people can say, okay, I have these people on the bench. Maybe you are interested in borrowing these people? I'm able to offer them to the market. And also we are searching for something. And this is also quite good to measure the sentiment on the market, because when I see that every day, every company says, we need, and only from time to time someone says we have, then I see how different it is comparing to what we had in April or May last year. Yeah? So it's definitely changed a lot. But this is the way we are doing this. And we also created our own partnership channel. It took us, right now it's about 2 years, and we have over 100 partners in our partnership channel. So this is also something that we built on our own. So this is how we use it. But I know that there are open platforms in Poland, and every company might join as well.
Yeah. So we're doing quite a lot of work at the GSA on open talent, also known as the gig economy. Is there a desire in Poland for lots of individuals to actually work for themselves rather than be employees of companies?
Well, it really depends on what we mean by working on our own, because of business models of type of works. And when it comes to business, we have in Poland that there are a lot of people that from government perspective, they are working on their own, but they are members of the company. So this is the first thing that we have to take into consideration. But generally speaking, that the freelance model is not so popular, I would say. People are rather interested in working in organizations, be member of the teams, and business-to-business model is chosen only because of financial benefits. So it's not a typical freelance where I, for example, work for one company and the other one, and during the weekends I do something like that, and after 1 month I can change the job. I would say that it's maybe for 10% of people this is this kind of work, but not more.
Right, okay. And is that growing or pretty static?
It's growing a little, definitely, because people see much more possibilities right now. So what we observe, and this is something that we didn't notice at such a high level, like we see right now, is that the companies from United States, from Germany, from United Kingdom as well, they decide to hire people directly from Polish market. So not outsourcing, but they are going through recruitment agencies, and they see, okay, find me the best 10 people in this technology. I pay as much as I pay our people in London, for example. So this is something new. It's something that we only observe in very small portion, I would say. Now it's much higher. So this is something new, and I believe that people that might be interested in this kind of model, it might work for them. Yeah, so they work from their own home, and they are still member of the teams, international teams. It's okay for them. They can earn a lot of money. So I think, and they are also joining quite interesting projects. There are a lot of startups in fintechs, in crypto. So I think this is quite interesting for these people.
Yeah. So you mentioned it before, and I'm gauging from what you're saying now that salaries are on the increase. How much do you think they've actually increased in the last couple of years? And do you have a concern that, you know, you're going to be priced, you know, not out of the market, but, you know, Poland is going to become a much more expensive destination?
Yes. Even this year, I think that what we see in all of the industry, at least 10 to 25% increase this year only. And I think that, to be honest, every year it was about 5 to 15%. So it's much higher. Compared to last few years, it's about, I think, 50% more. So what we had a few years ago. So this is how it's, of course, we still have inflation yet. So this is something that we also need to take into consideration here. But I think that the point is that it's not only in Poland, but it's in the whole world. So we have the company, the office in Ukraine, and it's the same there. So it's not only typical from Poland. And in Philippines, we also know how it was and how it is right now. We also were investigating Vietnam market, and it's also growing. So I think because of this talent shortage, the prices, or the salaries, if you can say, are growing everywhere. And the point is that this is at least what we see, that it's not about the salary on the rates that we have more, but who has the people, who have these talents, senior guys, because it's quite difficult to get them.
Yeah, absolutely. It's difficult to get them, but it's also in the UK very difficult to actually feed the funnel. So really sadly, we've seen a massive decrease in the number of pupils, students wanting to study technology in the UK. I think it's something like between 25 and 40% less students in computing subjects for GCSE in the last couple of years. Do you have such an issue in Poland, or are your school children really into studying technology and see this as a great sort of career path for them?
Yeah, I think that people are seeing this, or young people see this as a kind of good opportunity. But of course, not everyone has this kind of talent or just like this kind of work. Not everyone would like to be in Poland. It's more about being engineer. It's not, so it's you just need to understand that you have to be very good in math, also in physics. This is how our education system works. So I think that it might not always be so popular for everyone. So maybe this is something that causes that not everyone thinks that this is something for this person. I think the other thing is that for not only for young people, but for older people that would like to change something in their lives, we have quite a good opportunities in the market. So a lot of companies, startup companies, created this kind of the school for people that would like to change the job, and they prepare the courses for them. They teach them how to start in IT, and I think this is also quite a good idea, because people with quite a wide experience in other domains, they are very interesting people. They have a good language skills. They have experience in other domains, and they are able to give us a lot, I think, in the long term when they join IT companies. Also teach other young people that join our companies about life. So I think it's quite a good idea. So I think that when it comes to what our government does, it's not enough when it comes to this talent shortage. But what our government doesn't want to solve, I think that the market will solve anyway. So this is how it's organized in Poland. This is at least how I see it.
Okay, it'd be really interesting to get an understanding on industry futures. What's the agenda for SODA, the association that you're representing or you work with? What sort of issues are you tackling at the moment?
The biggest issue that we're tackling at the moment are changes in labor regulations that touch that these changes touch very strongly IT. And we always say if we should be competitive to other countries in outsourcing on IT. If we are supposed to build advantage when it comes to the whole country, it shouldn't be organized this way. So this is very important when it comes to regulations. This is the most important topic when it comes to solar organization right now. And the other one is that we would like to make sure that Poland as an IT market is much more popular, is the first choice for the companies that they are looking to outsourcing. So it's more about the marketing message to the whole world, to the Western countries, especially when it comes to choose the right locations. Think about Poland. So we even call it Engineered in Poland. This is how we would like to connect when it comes to looking for IT. Okay, Engineered in Poland. This is something that comes to my mind first. So maybe I will check what I can do when it comes to Polish market first. So I think these two issues, but I have to honestly say that the regulations and discussing with government, this is the first issue that we have right now.
Okay, right. So if you had a crystal ball, how do you see the future of the industry in Poland developing over the next 5-10 years, and the future of future processing within that?
Yeah, well, when it comes to the services outsourcing, this is, I think, something that we can talk about a little bit different comparing to startups, because when you have a startup, then you have your own product. It's a little bit different story. When it comes to services to outsourcing, you have to take into consideration labor costs. Anyway, I say that it's gonna change. It's gonna be more global anyway, but I think it's still, when you choose something, it should be cheaper comparing to what you have in your own market. Only if you are not able to find anywhere, then the price doesn't matter. So I think that for companies like future processing, we have to consider other locations where we also should build our presence. This is why we think of Philippines. This is also why we are in Ukraine, and we also think of United States. When it comes to the US, we think of Latin America as a delivery center. But this is something long-term planning. So it's only just a small thing of not a very good plan right now. But we consider that we are not able to be able to work globally, to deliver globally only from Poland. Yeah, not only from cost perspective, but also to be able to follow the sun rule, to working 24/7. We have to open other locations in other time zones just to be able to answer our clients' needs.
And just a final question for me, actually, do you think the industry is going to continue as a services industry, or do you think we're going to be moving more into a platform and project-based industry?
It's quite a good question, because for now, you also asked about the students. Is it very popular? Is it increasing? And I think that no one knows what's going to happen in 10 years. So even if my son now, I say you should be interested in programming, it's quite a good opportunity. I think that it might be not correct. So we prepare our children to live in the world that we live in, but no one knows what's going to be in 10 years. So if I prepare him for being a programmer and there is no job for programmers in 10 years, that might be true, because we will create automate tool that we could generate programs. So for example, this is something that might happen, and the platforms might be just something in the middle on the path to change something totally, and maybe AI will be programming instead of people. So I think that I wouldn't suggest my children that are now about 10 years, let's say, that it's a good idea to be programmer, because I don't know it. Yeah, all I know is that the change, and I observe how AI develop itself. So I think that yes, the platforms, but this is just only a small step to something bigger. So this is how I see it. So that's also why we think of that services might be not the best kind of business maybe in the future, but we don't know it. Yeah, we only see some trends. We of course observe, and depending on what we see, we will change our strategy if this is necessary.
Yeah. Okay, and just to close, what's the coolest tech you have seen being developed recently? So I had a presentation delivered earlier this week, which was really looking at IoT and connecting every single device in the home, so that I'd get a message on my mobile phone telling me that I'd left my fridge door open, or you know, my microwave needed servicing or something like that. And it's just like, wow, God, that's, you know, that's kind of a bit like Tesla, but for numerous different home branded devices. You know, what are you seeing that is, wow, that is super cool and really turned your head?
Okay. Probably I'll be very subjective in this matter, but yeah, the first thing that come to my mind is something that we develop in the future healthcare unit. This is different business unit that I am in, but I have to say that it's amazing what these guys are doing. So using machine learning, they simply save people's lives. Yeah, so I think this is something that they already see that they're specialists in very narrow domain. And using this knowledge that they have, we are part of something bigger that the organization creates. So very big healthcare organizations that use AI to research. Let's say that we have 1 million data from patients, and you need to find people that might have a heart disease, something like that. And this AI finds this and helps these doctors to in this diagnosis. There are too many data, yeah, and this is something that supports them. So if we are part of this, this is something big for me, especially in COVID times. I just have this kind of feeling that we have to care about every single life. So I'm very proud of it. So maybe I'm subjective here, but this is definitely something that that is very close to what we do, and I'm very proud of it.
Yeah, and rightly so, rightly so. So yeah, it's fascinating to think what the art of the possible is moving forward. But you know, how much we can transform for good is really significant. Are you doing any sort of technology for good programs across Soda?
There is something not connected directly with Soda, but outside Soda, Tech to Rescue. This is the initiative from other organizations. We are not part of it, but I know that there are other big companies in Poland decided to first of all create it and join it. And I know that this started during COVID, and right now they are developing many different tools that simply help people, and this is what technology companies might do for the whole world. So I think very good initiative, very good idea. So at least I can do a kind of advertisement of it, even if you are not a member of it. I do appreciate the job that that other companies are doing right now there.
Yeah, that's excellent. It's great to making a difference for the industry as well, isn't it? So, any final comments from you, Pawel?
Final comments from yes. I have to say that yeah, we definitely it's quite the challenging time, I would say, because from one perspective, it's very positive. We have a lot of demand. We can earn more money, if I can say something like that. But on the other hand, we observe a lot of risk on the market. Yeah, the salaries are growing very rapidly. People are going to more remote. We don't know if offices might work. So the time that for now brings us a lot of opportunities, but also a lot of risks in the future. This is something that we see right now, but we are optimistic. Yeah, this is something that we at least would like to be. I just need to deal with this risk, and I'm pretty sure that it'll be fine. And I do hope that everything that we do with our application software that we create will make our lives better. This is also our mission. So I hope that this is something positive, not only about money, but about changing something. Even if this is a finance application, not everything is connected with healthcare saving lives, but even if something make our life easier when it comes to finance or insurance, I'm very happy about it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, I think our industry has demonstrated great resilience and ability to change on a pin, and I'm sure you know that will continue. So so best of luck with your global expansion plans, and keep up the good work. So thank you very much for joining me today. Really appreciate it, Pawel. Pustelnik.
Thank you, Karen.
Future Processing.